Okay, so in this video, we'll be looking at implementing the students import feature. And this is also something that I wanted to implement in this students management system. And yeah, there might be use cases where you have to implement something like this. So yeah, I just thought of creating a tutorial about it. And before actually working on the feature itself, let's talk about the process. Let's look into the logic about how we'll be implementing this, and then we will start working on this. So what we want to do here is we have these records of the students, and we'll define a custom action somewhere in here. Just like we have the new student action, we'll define a custom action, and when we click on that action, we'll open up a model, and in that model we will let the user upload an Excel file, and based on the Excel file, we'll just go ahead and read the Excel file and then import those records into the database. So yeah, that's the whole flow, and we'll be making use of the Laravel Excel package to read the Excel file, and then we will store those records into the database. But yeah, there's a few things that we need to keep in mind. That is, the Excel file should be of a certain format, otherwise it's not going to work. But yeah, you can let the client or the user know that this is the type of format by giving them a sample, and then we can implement this import feature. So yeah, let's open up the documentation first. We'll be making use of this Laravel Excel package to implement the import functionality. So let's open up the imports documentation, and here we have the 5-minute quick start guide. Let's look into that. And to define the import file, we can go ahead and run this command called php artisan make import with the name of the import file and the name of the model that we want to attach this to. And this is going to be created inside the app imports namespace. And then based on the model, we can go ahead and import the data. And finally, we can call this Excel import method to import the records into our database. So yeah, let's go ahead and define this import file first, and then we will work on the other stuff. So let's open up our code editor and let's paste that command. The model in this case is going to be the student model because we want to import the records for the student model. So we'll pass that. And the name of the import file is going to be students import. So we are just following the convention here. Let's name it as students import. Let's hit enter and let's open that up. And we'll be returning an instance of our student model in here, and we'll pass the column related data here, like the name, email, class ID, and section ID. And we'll also implement the from heading interface because that makes working with the Excel file a bit more easy. So yeah, let's look into the documentation first, and then we will work on this. So yeah, let's open the importables page first, and yeah, we need this importable trait to be able to call this import method. Otherwise, this is going to throw an error. So let's go ahead and implement this importable trait first. And we can do that in here. Let's import that trait. And when we need to import this Excel file, we can just go ahead and new it up and then call this import method with the name of the Excel file and the format. In this case, this is passing the Excel format. We can even queue it. We can even pass the toArray method, and we can even import the collection into a collection, and the import can be loaded into an array. So yeah, we can go ahead and do that. But for now, we'll just go ahead and implement this model method, and based on this, we'll just go ahead and pass these columns in here. So yeah, let's look into the heading row first. We'll be implementing this as well. And what this will allow us to do is this will allow us to specify the name of the heading, like name, email, and other columns. And yeah, this makes working with the Excel file a bit easy because we don't have to pass the index of the columns. So yeah, we can specify the heading. So yeah, let's go ahead and actually copy this and make sure to implement this with heading row interface. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So along with this to model, let's pass the with heading row. And now let's pass the data. So the name is going to be from the name column. The email will be grabbed from the email column. We also need the class ID. And yeah, there are a few things that we need to keep in mind while working with an import file, because the user is not going to pass the class ID, because that they won't really know the ID of the class. So yeah, we have to manually grab the class ID based on the class name and then pass that class ID in here. So yeah, we'll actually get the name of the class in this case. And what we can do here is we can grab that class ID by defining a method. It's something like get class ID, and we'll pass the name of the class to this class ID, and using that name we'll grab the ID of that class and then pass that in here. So I'll just cut that from here and pass that to this get class ID method, which we haven't defined yet. And we'll define this as a static method. So I'll just pass the self keyword, and then let's go ahead and define that in here. Public static function get class ID. This is going to receive the name of the class, and here we can just query from the database, that is classes, where the name is the class, and then we want to grab the first record and then pass the ID to this. And okay, we have the class ID now. We can reference that class ID in here. So let's go ahead and do that, and let's import this classes model. And we also need to do the same for our section ID as well, because the user again is not going to know the ID of the section. So let's repeat the flow for the section ID as well. And again, we need to store the IDs of the records in our database, because we can't really store the actual names of the relationship, otherwise it's not going to work. And for the section, we can't just use the name of the section, because a section can have same names. Like, let's say section A can belong to class 1 as well as class 2 and class 3. So we can't really grab the section based on the section name itself, but with the combination of class ID as well. So yeah, what we can do here is we can define a new method again called get section ID, and we'll pass the class ID to this and the name of the section, and based on these two values we will grab the record from the database. So yeah, let's go ahead and define this method in here. Public static function get section ID. This is going to receive the class ID and the section name. So let's go ahead and pass these, and now we can just query the section. Instead of classes, we'll just query this section, where the name is going to be this section and the class ID is going to be the class ID that we are receiving as a parameter. So let's go ahead and pass that, and yeah, this should now work. Let's import this section model from the app models section, and let's chain these in new lines. And now we can reference that in here, which we have done already. And yeah, this should work. So yeah, we have defined this model method, and we are also implementing the with heading row. But what we also want to do here is let's look into the documentation. We have map cells. Okay, we don't need this. Importing to models. Okay, so yeah, we have done this already, and I think we are good to go now. We don't need anything else in here. Okay, so this is done. Let's go ahead and now work on the filament part. And that is to define a custom action which will let the user upload that file, and we'll read that file and then store that record into the database. So yeah, the Excel part is done, and we only need to implement the filament part now. And since we want to display the action on our index page, so yeah, we'll be defining that on our list students page, and yeah, we'll be making the necessary changes based on our needs. So let's open up our list students page, and here you want to define a custom action. to import the records from the Excel file. So let's go ahead and define that action make, and let's name this as import students, and let's pass a label of import students, and the icon is going to be hero icon or document download. We don't need this model thing because this doesn't actually exist. But first, let's go ahead and import this action from the appropriate namespace. And I think this is going to be imported from Filament pages, actions, action, model, action, actions, Filament, actions, action. Let's import that from that specific namespace. And what do we want to do when we click on that button? So we can pass a form to this, which will be displayed when the user clicks on that action, that is the import students action, and we can pass an array of data to this. So just like in our default form method that we have defined in here, so we can pass these components in our form method of this action as well. So we'll let the user upload the Excel file, so we can use the file upload component, and the name of the key is going to be attachment. So let's pass that, and this is done. We can even go ahead and pass in some validations to this, which you can go ahead and look into it, but for now I'm not going to do that. And let's define the action. But first, let's save this file and let's look into the action, how it looks like until this point. So we have defined the form, we have defined the action, we have defined the label. Let's also go ahead and pass a color to this. So I'm going to pass a color of danger because there will be importing the records to the database. So for that reason, I'm passing a color of danger, but you can go ahead and pass any color based on your needs. And if I go ahead and reload, okay, we have SVG by name from set of hero icons not found. So somewhere I think we implemented the Excel export feature. So what I will do is I'll just go ahead and copy the icon name from there. Okay, this is the one. Okay, not here. We have the bulk action. So I'll just copy this icon and pass that in our import student action. Okay, let's reload. And now we have the import students action. If I click on it, then as you can see, we have a form where we can now upload the Excel file. And the Excel file that we are dealing with in this case, I've already prepared that, and I just want to show you the Excel file, and then we will actually implement this whole flow. So this is the Excel file. As you can see, we have the name, we have the class, we have the section and the email. And based on these headings, we are accessing these records in our import file. Let me open that up. As you can see, so based on the name and the email, and also for the class ID, we are referencing this class key. And for the section as well, we are referencing this section key. So based on these headings, we will be accessing these records. And for now, we only have one record. So this is going to be imported, and this data will be stored into the database if everything goes well. But first, we need to finalize this flow. So let's go ahead and finalize this. So once the user clicks on the submit button, we want to grab the file that the user has uploaded, and then we want to pass that file to our import students Excel file. So that's the whole flow. And let's now go ahead and finalize this. Okay, let's open up our VS Code and let's navigate to the list students page, and let's define the action. And to this action, what we can do is we can pass a closure to this. So just like we have been doing in other tutorials as well, we can pass a closure to this, and inside that closure we can inject the array of data because we want to grab the record from this attachment, and then we will be grabbing the file that the user has uploaded. So for that reason, we are injecting the array of data, and in this data, whatever the user has uploaded or whatever they type in this form will be available in this data array. So yeah, we can grab that, and based on that we can further work on this. So yeah, if we go ahead and dd this data, let's save this file, and when we upload the file, when we click on the submit button, then this array is going to be dumped in here, and you'll see what I'm actually trying to do in here. So yeah, let's open up our browser. I'll just reload and click on the import students action. I'll click on the browse button, and we have this students.xlsx file. If I open that up, and this is going to be stored in our temporary location. If we go ahead and look into the storage folder inside app, we have this livewire temporary directory. Then as you can see, this is the file that just got uploaded, and we can now go ahead and dump this. If I click on submit, then as you can see, we have an attachment. But yeah, you might notice one thing, that is we only have this attachment which is of type string. So this is the name of the attachment. And if we go ahead and look into the documentation, so I have opened up the documentation for the 5-minute quick start guide, and here for the import, as you can see, we are calling this Excel import with the name of the import file and the path to the Excel file. So for now, we don't have the actual path, but instead we have the name of the Excel file. So yeah, we need to build up the path accordingly, and then we can pass that path to this Excel import method, and that would finalize the import flow. So yeah, let's go ahead and work on this. And currently, if we go ahead and look into our storage folder, I think I have already shown you this, but yeah, still, let's go ahead and look into it. So on our public folder, these are the files that are currently uploaded. So whenever we go ahead and upload this file in our project, then these will be stored in this public folder, and these are currently not accessible. So yeah, we need to make this accessible to be able to grab the path of this, and then we will pass that path of the Excel file that was just uploaded by the user, and we'll pass that to our Excel file, which is then going to read that Excel file and then perform the import. So yeah, to do that, we can just go ahead and run the storage link command, which is going to link our public folder of the storage folder to the public folder, that is the root public folder, and we can easily access that file from here. So let's go ahead and run the storage link command, and this is going to link our public folder of the storage folder in our root public folder. If I click on it, so currently we don't have that storage folder in here. As you can see, we don't have that, and as soon as I go ahead and hit this command, then this is going to create a symbolic link to our storage folder, which is now publicly accessible, and we can now access all the files that are residing in our storage folder. So yeah, if we go ahead and look into this, then as you can see, this creates a symbolic link from the public folder of the storage folder inside this storage folder of the root public folder. So yeah, let's now go ahead and grab that file. So as soon as the user uploads that file, we can now grab the path of the file using the public path method, and this public path is going to give us the path of this public folder, and inside this we have the storage folder. So let's navigate to that storage folder, and inside that we have the attachment that is uploaded by the user from here, and we want to grab the name of the attachment and finally pass it to this public path. So yeah, let's chain the attachment from this data array, and now this is going to give us the path of the file, the full path. And if we go ahead and dump this file, then we should see the full path of the file that was just uploaded by the user using this file upload component. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a try. I'll just go ahead and upload a new file again, and I'll just choose the file that we previously looked into. I'll click on open, and as soon as this is uploaded, I'll click on submit, and that would grab the file from the public path and then dump the full path of that file. So let's go ahead and give this a try. And now as you can see, this is giving the full path to that file. And we can now pass this to our students import Excel file, and that will read the Excel file from this path, and then it will perform the import. So yeah, let's go ahead and finalize this. And the code to perform the import is this Excel import. We can pass the name of the import along with the file. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And yeah, you might also need to import these files. I think I have already done that. And once that is done, we also want to show a notification to the user that we have performed the import. The title is going to be students imported, and we don't have this message option, so I'll just go ahead and get rid of that. The type is going to be success, and then we will send it. So yeah, let's go ahead and give this a try, and I'll just reload it once again. And if I go ahead and look into the 11th page of this table, we have this John Doe, which is the record that we are going to import from the Excel file. So I'll just remove this, and then we will perform the import. So let's remove that. And we currently have 100 records. As you can see, we have 100 records. And if the import is performed successfully, then we should have 101 records. So yeah, let's go ahead and give this a try. I'll choose the file again, and then let's go ahead and click on the submit button. Okay, students imported. Seems like the import worked. And now as you can see, we have 101 results. So yeah, the data was inserted into the database. And if I go ahead and click on it, then yeah, this is the record that was stored in the Excel file, and the class and section data are also mapped properly. So yeah, this is now working, and I hope that this was helpful to you. So yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.